I'm sure you all saw the news today about corruption in the country. We're now at 72% of the population that believes that our politicians and government is corrupt. I'm not going to talk about that. I want to talk about something else, very briefly. And that wasn't in the poll today. Nobody calculated, nobody measured a particular type of corruption. For lack of a better term, I'll call it ideological corruption. If you fail in public policy once, well, that's unfortunate, but that's not corruption. That's political failure. If you fail in the same policy twice, that's not yet corruption. That's serious policy failure. But if you fail a third time in the implementation of public policy, that is ideological corruption. The inability to stop and say, I tried and failed, means that you're wedded to this process for another reason. If you run out of Judea, Samaria, Jerusalem, the Golan for the sake of peace in Oslo, you had good intentions. You were wrong, but you had good intentions. If you run out of Gush Katif for the sake of peace unilaterally, you had good intentions. You were wrong. But if after all the bloodshed that Oslo brought upon this country, and after the rain of Qassam missiles and Grud missiles on the southern part of this country, which we all know will very shortly reach all the rest of the country, and you continue to run on a platform which talks about further disengagement from the hilltops of Judea and Samaria, you continue to talk about dividing Jerusalem, you continue to talk about leaving the Golan Heights, that is not public policy failure, that is ideological corruption. And the people of Israel want change. And there is no explanation for the fact that in the polls, Likud now stands at 35, 36 mandates, triple the number that the Likud has today. It's unprecedented that a country should triple its political potency in one election. Remember how many years Begin strove to come to power? And every election was another 2 mandates, another 3 mandates. To go to 12 to 35, 36, and I'll tell you something. The polls are showing that Tzipi is falling on every level.
Oh,
I don't know if that's going to continue for 3 months. They're going to begin a very intensive, and I will say parenthetically, dirty campaign against Likud. It's going to be a very schmutzful campaign coming from Kadima towards Likud. But the people want change, and they want to move from what my distinguished friend, senior analyst at JCPA, Dan Diker, calls the movement from a concession-based diplomacy to a rights-based diplomacy. Now, if Likud forms a government after a victory, I'm going to take another 2 minutes, forms a government that is strong, if Likud triples its strength and forms a government with a clear agenda which says we're moving on to a different paradigm, then a statement will be made to the world that is organizing right now a diplomatic tsunami against Israel. It's coming, Before the tsunami actually hits, there's some rumblings on the bottom of the ocean. Right now there are rumblings within the diplomatic community, particularly after the elections in the United States. So the tsunami is brewing. But if the people of Israel say no to the ideological corruption of Kadima and labor, a statement will have been made to the world that, as Ben Gurion always said, it doesn't matter what the Goyim say, it matters what the Jews do. But what's very important is that that the Likud that wins big is comprised of a list of mandates, of people who will stand next to our leader, to the chairman of the party, and will be like Aram and Hor in the battle with Amalek, will hold him up, keep him strong, because he's going to be one lowly guy against the tsunami. Now, I've been there. I was there 1994, 95, and 96 battling Oslo. I was there with Bibi when he was Prime Minister, 96, 99, battling the Hasbara campaign. I was there with him in the finance ministry. We're going to be in for an economic tsunami soon, too. Let me tell you, it was worse when we took over the finance ministry than it is today. We knew what to do. Nobody else knows what to do. Nobody else knows what to do. They could implement so many policy changes right now if they only had a little bit of vision and courage. They don't know what to do. We know what to do. We know what to do on that front, too. We're going to do it. On the plane of internal security, we need dramatic changes. We know what to do. In the areas of education, we know what to do. We're going to do it. We're going to send a message that the times they are changing. Remember? We're going to change. But what I am particularly enthused about, 30 seconds, Shalom. What I'm particularly committed to, this is a man of shalom, please. I'm particularly enthused about this gathering here tonight because in order to implement change, real change, not those empty phrases about we want change, real change, you have to know where you're coming from. And there is no community in Israel like the Ole community that knows where it's coming from in order to know where we're going. Because you came here, because you knew where we came from. So that's why I think it's important for us to make this special appeal to you, to ask you now to go from door to door. For each of these three gentlemen, they're all running in separate districts. You can organize the Anglos on the coast, in the Tel Aviv area. You can organize the Anglos in the Ashkelon area. You can organize the Anglos in Judea and Samaria. And God bless you if you organize the Anglos all over the country, because I'm running on the national list, and I need you now for me to go where we're coming from. So thank you.